Welcome to another episode of Real with Ryan. This is going to be episode 2 of my coding vlog and my journey into coding. So I have my mic set up, I have my new camera set up that hopefully shouldn't be lagging as much as the last time. So we'll see. But I now have a second assignment for code, and I'm going to show you what that is. And it's getting a little more complex. So the last vlog, I made just a simple quiz that stored answers and said if they were right or wrong and gave you the result. Now I'm creating a game, and it's a scorer of a game, and it's actually for the game Scrabble. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here. And now we are looking at the assignment. So the assignment is a Scrabble scorer. And so what we have to do is use different types of functions, different types of arrays, different types of algorithms that we're going to be looking at that actually take in a word and then score it like it's Scrabble. And so still relatively straightforward. We're not going to be coding anything that you're seeing on the screen that's super visual. Or coding anything that requires buttons or actually playing a game. But we're going to be using some more complex code that uses objects, uses functions, and some algorithms to create a program that scores Scrabble. So I have just started and worked on it a little bit. Right now, this is the code that I have for the Scrabble scorer. And up here, I'm starting to use functions now. So in the last code, everything just went red from top to bottom. So now I have functions, meaning that I can code things that aren't necessarily in order. With the functions, now these are all different like building blocks that I can assemble into a full building. And don't necessarily require me to go in step-by-step order. So a really exciting concept that I've learned about coding and will be using in this code and others. So, here is really what I have thus far, and it really is just the beginning of the code. So let me go ahead and run this, and we are looking at, this is what it creates. So, hey, welcome to Ryan's Scrabble Scorer. And then it says this is choose the scoring algorithm. You choose 0, 1, or 2. And that's as far as I've gotten. So now it's time for me to code what happens if they choose 0, what happens if they choose 1, and what happens if they choose 2. The last clip I showed you that I ran this program and I came up with a score calculator, and it takes an input and now it actually does something. So part 2 of this assignment was using this old point structure, which is right here highlighted on the screen. And so this is the point structure that was kind of provided, and this is how the Scrabble scorer calculates the score. So it has lists of different letters, and then the score designated to each of those letters to the left. So one thing that we learned is that because these are stored, so the point value of 1 has an array of whatever this is, like 12 letters or so, maybe less. That makes it really inefficient for the program to read through all of these every time you have to score a word. So what we needed to do was create a function and create a new object that turns this into a flat object. So basically the output is we want every single letter in here to correspond to its point and not all be stacked together like this. So if you look over here on the right hand side over here, you can see that I have made or successfully flattened this out. So every letter over in the old point structure now corresponds to its point in a way that's flat and easy for the computer to look through compared to this stacked kind of structure over here. And so the function that I use to do this is right here. And so what it does is first it looks down this list And so each of these numbers on the left-hand side are called keys. So what it does is it looks down this list of keys, and then it looks at the length of the items within each key. And so what we're doing here is we're saying, hey, first go down here, look at 1. Now we're going to be looking at each letter within 1. And for each letter within 1, what we're going to do is transfer that item to a lowercase letter, because we want these to be lowercase. And then we're going to assign that lowercase letter to a value of 1, or its corresponding value, and store that as a number within a new object. So the new object is new point structure, which is just an object I declared down here. So it's going one at a time through each of these, turning it into a lowercase letter, and assigning that back to its own point value within a new object. So that's what the output is over here, is showing you what that looks like. And so now the next part of this assignment is to create the algorithms, the 3 different algorithms that then you can pick, and it chooses different ways to score this. So far it's been definitely a challenging project. We're very new to objects, and the object is this, a variable essentially that stores a bunch of different information points. So excited to crack on with it. Hopefully we can finish this today. Okay, so last where we left off, it was time for me to come up with the scoring algorithms for this Scrabble game, and I have done just that. The first 2 I was able to do pretty easy, and the first one is simple score. So really what this does is it scores based on the length of the word. So I'm using the word bakery, for example, which has 6 letters, so it has a point value of 6. Okay, so here is the second scoring algorithm function. And so this scores differently based on whether a letter is a vowel or a letter is a consonant. So for vowels, you get 3 points. For consonants, you only get 1 point. So we created a vowels array. And so now we're running this function called bonus vowels, which also keeps a score count. So it iterates through the word, and for every single letter, what it does is it checks if that letter is a vowel or if that letter is contained within the vowels array. If so, which means it's a vowel, it will add 3 points. If not, then it will only add 1 point. Now, I know this isn't a perfect code, so if someone puts in a letter or a space, it will include that in the else. So I could make this more refined, but generally speaking, it does what I want it to do. Okay, so the last one, is relatively simple, but just with how passing different objects and functions to and from each other and getting things to format in the right way with the syntax, it took me a long time. I felt like I understood what I was trying to do, but getting that translated into the code the right way took me actually quite a long time. It really came down to syntax. So what this does is the Scrabble scorer, and this is a function that takes in the word, and what it does is it sends it off to our new point structure, which is the function that I created up here, that is the transform version of this. So this is the old point structure that dictates for each letter what is the point. So we transform that with this function, and then we are calling it here to check each of the characters in that function to return the point value. And so I have managed to do it. It was a little bit tricky getting the syntax down right. And so we use the example bakery for each one. So simple score using bakery, the vowels using bakery, and then the Scrabble score using bakery. You can see you don't get to choose in my program yet. I just have an enter, so you enter in whatever number. It doesn't actually do anything yet. That will be the last step. But then you can see here is the value for simple score, 10 points for vowels, and then 15 points for the Scrabble scorer. So using the same word and using words, I've created the 3 different algorithms that check it. So now it's the final portion of the program, and that is pulling everything together to run in a sequential order so that this actually works. This could be a little bit tricky just because it's pulling all the different pieces into a program and running it in the right order, which I haven't really done yet before. So, so far got the algorithms done and feeling pretty good, feeling good about this. It can be hard and challenging whenever you're trying to figure something out, but when you finish that program and you run it and see it works, like, I mean, I think every single time I'm like sitting back, I'm like, woo, let's go. So fun learning journey. Definitely happy to have been making this progress so far. Okay, so here we go. We have finally done it. So it's taken about 3 days of on and off working on this program to complete it. Or assignment 2 for my coding class, which is creating a Scrabble scorer. But I've finally done it. I think total time on it has been between 4 and 6 hours or so a decent amount of time. Most of that is trying to just get the syntax to work. That's a big thing that I struggle with, is I feel like I know what I want the code to do. Figuring out how to actually do that is really where it's taking most of my time. But I'm learning a lot and got it. So, okay, so let's go ahead and run this really quick and show you what we're working with. So we've seen this before. Welcome to Ryan's score calculator or Scrabble calculator. Here are the 3 algorithms to choose from. So now let's enter in a number. And originally this didn't do anything, but now it does something. But I want to show you, if you enter in 4, so it asks for 0, 1, or 2. If you enter 4, it says, hey, that's an invalid entry. Please enter 0, 1, or 2. Corn, that's an invalid entry. So it kind of goes and it checks what that entry is to make sure it is 0, 1, or 2, which is something that I've just kind of learned how to do. The first program, I couldn't do that. So let's go ahead and enter in 0. Which is the Scrabble score. And it'll tell you that using algorithm Scrabble. What word would you like to score? And if you're done, type 0. So let's score corn. So corn all lowercase is 6. Let's say JavaScript, and we'll throw some capitalizations in there. And so that's 24, which is the accurate score. And a key thing is it will read both capital letters and lowercase letters, which is something you have to actually code. Let's do JavaScript again. Oh, this might be bad. Let's whoa, weird. Corn again. So let's do CO space RN. So you actually have to code in. So corn without a space is 6, and corn with a space is also 6. So I had to code that in to make sure it could read that spaces or blanks are 0 points, but it still lets you use them. And now we've done a bunch of those words. Let's go ahead and do stop. And so any type of stop, both capital and lowercase letters, will stop the program, which is awesome. It's the first time I've been able to, stop the program. Let's go ahead and just go through and do another score. So this is simple score, which is just the length of the word. So really simple there. We can stop it. And then last but not least, we have using 2 is bonus vowel scoring. So this, is giving extra points to vowels, 3 points to vowels. And so that's it. So that really is the whole program and what the end result looks like. Super simple, the Scrabble game score, but I'm really, really proud of it. It took a lot of work to get this and lots of trial and error, and I'm just super stoked. I'd say every time that I figured out one more step for it, I was just sitting back going like, let's go, like we did it. But yeah, I'm super proud of it. Great to be here and learning about code, so that'll be great. So I'll take you through the actual code itself really quickly and show you. So one thing that I'm really proud about is this line here. So line 120, which is the run program function. So this one line is running the entire program. And so this is a function that calls all of the other functions inside of it to come out and format this output, which is such a big kind of improvement over, the first code vlog where everything is just like reading line by line, going down the line. So now it's all nested up in here and is organized and sorted there. And so I'll show you what this program looks like and some of the bits that it calls. So this is, it's a big function here, run program, and the first thing it does is transform, which I showed you that up here. It turns this point structure into a flat point structure for the Scrabble scoring algorithm. So it takes in, let's see, yeah, then it takes in, or it calls initial prompt. And so the initial prompt is this upper part of it. So this part, it calls this, which gives you this text up here, and then gives you the enter 0, 1, or 2, and then checks that. After it checks that, then what it does is say it verifies that the number you put in tells you which algorithm you're using, and so it will match you to the right scoring algorithm, which is held in this array. And then now that you have this part out of the way, it's showing you this top text, and you're entering in a number, choosing the algorithm. Then it's time to score the word. So then it asks you, please enter a word. And then it goes through these tests, which are 3 kind of if else, or else if statements that says, hey, you entered in this word, which we will send to the corresponding function, either simple score, bonus vowels, or Scrabble score, depending on what number they entered in here. And then it will output and calculate the score for that word, which corresponds with either of these 3 functions right there. These 3 functions score the word, and then it gives you that output. And finally, if, let's see, it has a stop logic. So if you enter in stop, then it ends the code, so it will stop it. And of course, you can do that in upper and lower case. But notice how this is a while loop. So at the end of each iteration, each scoring, as long as it's not stop, it's going to ask that again. So you can enter in more and more words into that algorithm once more. And yeah, last but not least, it all just gets tied up in this run program and displayed. So that really is it. Okay, so that is the end of my coding vlog number 2, and the assignment number 2, which is the Scrabble score calculator. It was really fun, and also pretty challenging and difficult for me. And we used some exciting new concepts such as objects, functions. I mean, objects and functions really are the 2 big ones, but they're so critical in learning code in JavaScript. Compared to the first vlog where I was only console logging and just iterating just line down, 1 line at a time. Now we can create little code snippets that can be pieced together and solve one problem at a time and just be chunked together to make a full working program or code. So love how much progress I made even in just 2 weeks time, or a week and a half since that last video. And hopefully now kind of going forward, we'll be able to have more objects and more complex things. And I'm excited for whenever we can come over and make some visual aspects of the code. That will be a really fun point, but definitely enjoying the programming. It's a fun challenge, and I'm excited that to learn more. And if you're watching, thank you for sticking in and learning with me, and tuning into some of this journey. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts, feedback, question, or things I should look at or pay attention to. I'm sure if you know code, there's probably a lot of things I did sloppy or wrong in here, but it's part of the process, part of the journey. So thank you for watching. I definitely appreciate it. And as always, thank you for keeping it real with Ryan.